Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Nerdy Girl Travels. As you can tell by the title, this is a completely different video. This has nothing to do with travel whatsoever. It's just been a very emotional weekend. Um, and it started out so crazy for me because Friday night I was in my house working on some stuff. I had my music blasting. I'm singing my heart out, giving my neighbors a concert. And then I said, I haven't checked my Facebook in a minute. Got on the internet and got the news that Chadwick Boseman had passed away. And not only that he had passed away, but he had passed away from cancer. Like, in that instant, it was like, nah, that can't be right. But unfortunately, it is. Um, and as I selfishly mourn a man that I personally never knew, I can only imagine what those who were close to him, friends, family, loved ones, are going through. And so they are certainly in my prayers in this time. Again, not having known the man, only really knowing this man from his celebrity, and from his craft, you could still just know that he was genuinely a good, decent, honorable person. And to lose such a talent and such a human being, like above all else, this is a person. This is not just the person who brought Black Panther to the screen for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is not just the person who played James Brown and played Jackie Robinson and what have you. This is someone who, while he did all of that, was secretly battling stage 3 and stage 4 cancer. He did not burden his castmates, directors. I'm sure there's probably people who consider themselves part of his inner circle that didn't even know. And to be honest, when I first heard the news, I was like, oh my gosh, like to think that, all of the MCU probably knew about this and no one spilled the beans, so to speak. And then to read over the weekend, Ryan Coogler and someone else, and I can't remember who at the moment, saying, yeah, we had absolutely no idea. To be that selfless, to keep something like that to yourself for whatever reasons, whether it was because he genuinely did not want to burden anyone, he didn't want sympathy, whatever the case may be, to be able to walk through that, something so momentous, while still making such magic in this world, both artistically as well as his charitable and philanthropic work, is nothing short of amazing. That is a man that truly walked not only with purpose, but in his purpose. There's no way you can see what he was able to accomplish in such a short career. Such a short career, because even though he's been, acting for quite some time, his celebrity really has only come about in the past 5 years or so. And he's a household name in such a short amount of time, made such an impact. There's no corner of the internet that is not mourning the loss of this man. It is truly amazing. And beyond praying for comfort for his family and friends and loved ones and all of the people whose lives he's affected, I pray also that he knew just what a gift he was to this world while he was here. Too often, people leave this earth without getting their roses. And I pray that he knew just the amount of magic and, oh my gosh, I can't even bring myself to the words. I have cried at least 5 different times this weekend just thinking about it. Just thinking about it. I can't even imagine. I really, 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 really can't. But I will say this, beyond being like super duper fangirl over him, because I promise you, I kid you not, I was like, yeah, me and him are definitely getting married. Like, that's my type of man right there. Perfect. Perfection. Like, I'm looking at it. God wrote it. My name is on it. But I definitely was a fangirl for that purpose, for that reason, rather. Just like the talent and then the compassion behind the man. But I definitely am so thankful for the role that he had in just reawakening this Black pride, and more so this African pride. Um, as you may or may not know, I'm African American. I have an African American parent and I have a Nigerian parent. I was born in the US. So, I identify with both, very much so, with both parts of my heritage. And growing up in, the 90s and the 2000s, being African was not, something that was cool. I mean, I'm not going to go and say that people like went out of their way to make me feel bad about being Nigerian, because that's not 100% accurate. But yeah, it wasn't lit. Like, I'm low key jealous of my younger cousins, because I'm like, you get to grow up in a world where the fact that you're Nigerian is lit. And people, not even that it is lit, because it's always been lit, but people recognize that. People have an interest in that. There are people moving back to Africa in droves. There are people who are wanting to visit Africa in droves. There are people who are listening to Afrobeat and other genres of African music in droves. People are buying out these African shops in terms of figuring how to make the food, how to properly tie their gele or ichafu, as I'm an Igbo girl that's in ichafu. People are like just so invested in the culture right now, and whether it is just momentary hype or long-term hype, it's just beautiful as a Nigerian person, as a Black person in general, to see and to know that spark really, really came from Black Panther and Wakanda Forever. Like, yeah, Wakanda's not a real place, but the possibility, just the joy that sparked in so many people from his portrayal. I can't imagine anyone else being Black Panther. I can't imagine any better person to have brought King T'Challa to the screen. And for even if we completely forgot all of the other miraculous roles he's played, because Get On Up was how I was introduced to him, and I was at the edge of my seat. I went into it not even wanting to see the movie, and by the end, I literally was at the edge of my seat, the most excited out of all of us that were watching the movie. He was just an incredible talent and an incredible person, and a person who walked with and in his purpose. And I hope that so many people that have been touched by that talent have also been touched by that drive and by that walk. I know just from like re-listening to some of his speeches and like even just seeing some of the interviews, like the one where specifically he got emotional about the two little boys that passed away from cancer that he had spoken with and had, was regularly visiting in the hospital and what have you, and how they had passed away, and just what that meant in terms of inspiring him to make sure that he does his best job in the role of Black Panther. And then putting the pieces together, like this man was also going through cancer and was not telling anyone. That type of human being, we don't get that often. And so I just say this man left a legacy that any and everybody connected to him should be proud of. And I really hope that even as we're going through all of this other crazy stuff in this world, and then mourning the loss of such a great person on top of that we're able to gain some lessons and see the legacy that he has left on this earth, and make best use of our time and tap into that purpose that we all have. I mean, just with the lockdown for the past, it's been like 6 months now. If you haven't been tapping in, shout out to Sweetie. If you have not been tapping in, now is definitely the time. And I say that even for myself, getting my YouTube channel together, even though I said I'd start a YouTube channel a million bajillion of years ago. Getting into school, if you're not in school, getting a certification, picking up a hobby, picking up a book, and just getting into reading, whatever it is for you, tap into that, because there is no better legacy that you can leave than walking in whatever purpose God has for you. So with that, I end this video by just saying, rest in peace, rest in power to our fallen hero, Chadwick Boseman.